Moved ahead of everybody. Okay, so add or subtract negative integers on a number line. So spark your learning. The scores of 3 contestants on a game show are shown. The final question is worth 50 points. A correct answer adds 50 points. To the contestant's score, and a wrong answer subtracts 50 points. Show the possible final score for each contestant, and in what circumstances are necessary for each contestant to win. Okay, so you guys are going to work on that on your own. So here are the scores. Their current scores: Morgan is 30, Carlos is 50, and Kaylee is at -20. So list for me the possible scores if they get it right and they don't get it right, and what are the scenarios for each person to win. So what has to happen? So I'm going to give you guys about 5 minutes, and then we'll come back and look at it. No Layla? Huh. No Chloe. Alright, so who is trying to get in? Nazaya. Okay, Xander. We got a minute and a half. So let everybody else catch up. That definitely isn't focused. Come on. All right, 8 seconds. All right, so who wants to help me with the first part? So what happens to Morgan if she gets it right?
If Morgan gets it right, then her final score will be 80.
Yep. All right, and if she gets it wrong,
her final score will be -20.
-20. Good. All right. What about Carlos?
If Carlos gets it wrong, the final score will be 100.
You mean gets it right?
Gets it right.
That's okay. I knew what you meant. All right. And then if he gets it wrong,
it'd be 0.
He'd be at 0. Yep. All right. And then the last one, which is Kaylee.
If she gets it right, it'd be 30 points. And wrong, it'd be -70.
Awesome.
Technically, she's gonna lose no matter what.
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think so. So what has to happen for Kaylee to win? Can she win?
No.
She can't?
Because Morgan.
What if that's the final question?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. If she gets it right and Carlos gets it wrong and Morgan gets it wrong, would she not win?
No. Actually, she would win.
Yeah.
Because Carlos would be at 0 and Morgan would be at -20.
Yeah, so Kaylee wins if Morgan and Carlos get the question wrong. Okay, question wrong. So she could win if that happens. What about Carlos? How does Carlos win?
He could win, just like Kaylee, or even if Morgan got it right and he got it right, he'd be at 100.
And then Kaylee doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Carlos wins if he, I already did that, he gets it correct, even if Morgan does as well. And then we know that Kaylee doesn't really matter, right? Kaylee's score does not matter. So it doesn't matter if she gets it right or wrong. All right, what about Morgan?
Morgan, she can get it right if she gets it and then Carlos gets it wrong.
Okay, yep, so Morgan wins if she is correct and Carlos is wrong. And then again, does Kaylee's score matter?
No.
Yeah.
Just like Kaylee's score sucks.
So it doesn't matter if she gets it right or wrong. Okay, so those are your scenarios. So the Turn and Talk says, how can you add a number to each score to show a loss? So think about that. So if it doesn't matter, right? So if I start out with 20, how can I add something to that to show a loss?
And add a negative number.
Yep. So add a negative number. Yep, and it doesn't matter what the number is. It could be -1. It's still showing a loss. Okay? Do I need to pause for a second? So people can copy? All right, I'm not hearing anything, so move on. All right, so we're continuing with game shows, and we have the scores here. So the Trail is at 8, Mayum is at 6, and Scott is at 3. So they spin a wheel, and it determines what they're going to do, whether they're going to add a negative or if they're going to add a positive. All right, so Latrell is at 8, and what are we doing to his score?
Going backwards.
We're going backwards -5, right?
Yeah.
All right, because we're adding that negative, so that means we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do you have, somebody asked me earlier, do I have to do those loops? No, I just do it so that you guys can see that I went 5 places. Okay, so he ended up at 3. All right, what about the next person? Where do they start?
They start at 6.
Yep.
And go down 11.
Okay, so we're adding a negative. So am I moving right or left?
Left.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I ended up at -5. All right, so I want you guys to look at these 2 sentences. What do we notice about what we did, adding, versus our answer?
Say again.
So what do you notice about the 2 numbers that we're adding that resulted in our answers?
Both negatives.
No.
Okay, we both added a negative, yep.
Yeah, and one of them is positive and one of them is negative.
Yes, and why does that happen?
Because the negative number that was added to 8 is less than 8, so it doesn't reach a negative.
Right.
It stays a positive.
So negative number, I like how you said that, that was added was less than what was being added, right?
Yeah.
So the -5 was less than 8. Where here, we were adding a -11 and it was larger. So the rule says if I am adding a positive and a negative, I subtract, because that's what I really did, right? I really did 8 minus 5, which was 3. And I really did 11 minus 6, which was 5. So we subtract, and you use the sign of the larger number. So here, 8 was larger, so my number was positive. here 11 is larger. So if I put 11 in the absolute value, right, 11 is larger and my sign was negative. So I use the sign of that absolute value of the larger number. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that kind of is what goes here. So it says, how do Luttrell's and Mayim's final scores compare to their starting scores? And explain why this is reasonable. So it's everything that we kind of just added here. Just like Xander said, because the negative here was not larger than what we were adding to, my answer was positive. But here, my negative was larger, so my answer ended up being larger. So all of this is kind of what goes right here. Okay? So D is a little different. D, so we start at a positive 3, right? But now we are subtracting a negative number.
So if you...
So usually when we add a negative, we go to the left, right? But I'm subtracting, so I'm going to reverse the way I go. So now I'm going to go this way, and I'm going to go 7 places.
So basically, you just switch the signs. Like, let's say you have, or like 6 plus negative 11. You can switch the negative and the plus sign. So, which is 6 minus 11.
Okay, so I could, if this was minus, so if it was 6 minus negative 11, then I could switch my signs to be 6 plus 11. But if it starts out addition, I don't do anything with my signs. I just follow the rule I did up here. Start at 6 and go to negative 11. Okay? So the rule for subtraction, I know where you're going, Xander. So yes, you're on the right path. So the rule, somebody have a question? No? All right. So the rule is change subtraction to addition. Okay, so I would change this subtraction to addition and change the number to the right to its opposite. So that becomes addition, and if this is negative 7, it now becomes positive 7. And then we just follow the rules for integers. If I have a positive and a positive, we add them, and my answer is positive. If I have a negative and a negative, so if this was negative 3 and negative 7, I would add them, and my answer is negative. Everybody see how that works? All right, so the turn and talk is basically just asking, is it possible to subtract a loss from a positive number? So that's what we just looked at, right? So if I had a positive number, let's say 5, and I subtract a loss, I don't know, we can say 100, it doesn't really matter, will we get a negative number?
No.
Okay, in this situation, it's not, right? Because this would give me 105. So let me give you another example. So what if I did 5 minus -1? What would I get?
You would get 6.
Yeah. So is it possible for me to get a negative?
Yes.
I did? I got negatives here? Even if I go down to, let's say, 1/6, I would still get 5 1/6.
So it's not possible.
It is not possible. No. I could go down to the smallest decimal and I'm still going to get a positive number. So it is not possible for me to subtract a negative number and get a negative answer.
I have one question.
Yes.
It's on the topic, but like, I don't know if we're gonna learn about this later, but like, just talking about fractions, right? Is it possible to have a negative numerator or a negative denominator?
So, yes. So, we will get into negatives and positives of rational numbers because that's coming up soon. So, a lot of times when you write a fraction, you'll see it written like this with the sign in the middle.
Miss Lavelle?
Yes.
I remember doing negative numbers rational last year in 6th grade at my old school.
Yep, it's possible. Yep. Okay. All right, so Xander, a lot of times you'll see it written this way, but this is equivalent to this, which is equivalent to this. So all of that means the same thing. It means that this entire fraction is negative, whether I write it like this, or like that.
Okay.
Okay? So they all mean the same thing. But we will get into rational numbers. Okay? All right. So, moving on to number 2. I want you guys to look at number 2 and try that one on your own without my help. Okay? I'm going to give you about 5 minutes.